We are transmitting live from Cabo San Lucas. Beautiful weather right now, and welcome to our third Los Cabos Golf webinar. We're very excited to have you join us again this week. And well, I would like to introduce myself. My name, as a bunch of you guys already know, my name is Cynthia Ontiveros. I'm the special segments manager here at the Los Cabos Tourism Board. I also would like to introduce Brian Mccollum, who is our colleague. He's our golf consultant here at the Los Cabos Tourism Board as well. And we also have, last but not least, our managing director, our boss, Rodrigo Esponda, joining us today. And he will give us a few words about what the status of the destination is right now. Or other than, of course, the fact that it's a blue sky and just perfect weather, really, right now. So we can brag about that. So, Rodrigo, would you like to help us with a few words to everybody that just joined us this morning?
Definitely. Muy buenos días. Good morning, everyone. I'm really pleased to be participating in this webinar. I would like to congratulate Cynthia for putting this big effort, as well as Brian and everybody that is participating to present a secret that everybody knows that Los Cabos is doing the best, that is golf. You can no go wrong if you play golf in one of the 18 golf courses that we have in Los Cabos. I would like to take this opportunity to give you a little bit of an update on what is the status of the destination. The next one, Cynthia. As April 1st, we decided proactively to close the destination in order to be ready soon and in better shape. This was a strategic decision that was taken along with all the associations, including definitely all the golf courses and the developers that are part of this association. We have done so and we will remain to do so. We expect that we're going to be opening the destination in phases as soon as the health authorities give us the approval, and we believe that that's going to be a soft opening hopefully soon. But in order to do that, we have decided that it's going to be a comprehensive way of reopening little by little the destination in order to make it right. We don't want to rush and making wrong. I know that all of you are looking forward to come down to the destination and play golf, but what we want is to have it and not being able to close it anytime soon. So we have decided to do it gradually, and we have decided to do it with the most strict protocols that we'll be implementing all along in the airport, the hotel, the transportations, the nightlife, the activities, the restaurants, of course, and the golf courses. So we have been working in a manual of protocols, procedures, and preventive measures for management of the COVID-19, not only in just one element of the supply chain, but in every single aspect. It is one of the most strict ones. We have been using international standards to put it together, and it's been a collective effort where everybody's been working. For those of you who have been in the destination, you know that it is a very united destination that works hand in hand to make sure that we are a very resilient community, that we have been working towards other recoveries previously in the last year. So it is in our DNA, and we're confident that we're going to be back on track very soon, and it's going to be in a strategic way. We have put together this website that is visitloscabos.travel, and there we have a specific section on the health and safety standards that have been implemented, including the golf courses, that incorporates, you know, all the physical distancing, the cleaning, the sanitation, and all the state-of-the-art technologies are going to be applied all along the destination. Here you would have some key information that you can pass to your partners, flyers, the protocols, explanation of all what I'm mentioning, what hotels are going to be open when, what dates, for example, the golf courses are going to be reopened, or in what phases, and what specific measures have been taken. I'm confident that Los Cabos is going to be back on track, and I definitely look forward to see you everyone soon in the destination. So thank you, Cynthia, for this opportunity.
No, thank you, Rodrigo, for your words. So we're gonna move on with, okay, let me see. Ryan, you're muted, so I don't know what. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the next step by letting you guys know that we have an office in the United States. Los Cabos Tourism Board has an office. It's located in Los Angeles. That's been a very important resource for us since, you know, California is pretty much an extension of the peninsula. So this is the information for Susie Aldin Nájera. She is the manager of the office in Los Angeles for us. So if you need to get in touch with her, this is her information. She's fantastic, great, great, great professional. But let's move to you know, our topic. So a lot of you have been to Los Cabos already, but for you guys that are not that have not joined us just yet, I would like you to know that, of course, this is this country of Mexico, and we're located right at the tip of the Baja California Peninsula. It's about 1,000 miles south of San Diego. And you know, we have a really, really good climate. Like right now, it's just an incredible weather, blue skies, and breezy and delicious. There are currently 18,500 hotel rooms in Los Cabos, and as you know, the time zone that we have is Mountain Time, and the official language is Spanish. Nevertheless, because it is a touristic destination, we obviously don't only just speak Spanish, but of course, language is widely spoken, and several other languages. So this is the very tip of the peninsula. So I would like to explain to you that all of this gray area is the Los Cabos municipality. It's divided in different areas. And this is your computers. Maybe you want to go a little bit over there. Thank you. Sorry, everybody. Yeah. So the section A is the Pacific Ocean. Section B is Cabo San Lucas. Section C is the tourist corridor. D, San Jose del Cabo. And E is the East Cape, right? So all of this is Los Cabos. Cabo San Lucas is where, you know, the main touristic area. It's where the famous arch or Lancet is located, and where most of the tourism started. There is a marina, and most of the water activities are also you know, they take off from that marina. Nightlife is very important, of course, restaurants and beaches and hotels, but the touristic corridor is 20 miles road from Los Cabos to Cabo San Lucas to San Jose del Cabo, and it's just a corridor that has, you know, incredible beaches such as Santa Maria Bay and Chileno, as well as incredible resorts and fantastic golf courses. Which we will be speaking about this fall in a little bit. But San Jose del Cabo, it's kind of the most authentic part of the destination. It's like a more traditional Mexican with arts and crafts and shops and restaurants, cobblestone streets. And it's just a more laid back area where you can just walk around the gazebo and look at different art galleries and go to the farm to table restaurants that are around in that area. It's a really, really beautiful area. This is just a map of, you know, again, the tip, but this shows all of the different location of the golf courses. There are 18 golf courses currently in Los Cabos. Number one right here to our left is Rancho San Lucas. And it goes all the way to the corridor, Cabo San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo. And if we go a little bit further east to the East Cape, that's where Costa Palmas Golf Club is. And that is right by the Four Seasons. And it's probably 2.5, 3 hours from the East Cape to all the way to the Pacific side. So we have a lot of golf where you can enjoy and play, right? So that's more or less an idea for you guys that have not been in Los Cabos yet, can see a little bit of how the golf courses are are located, where they are located. So let's get to our main topic. You know, we have many incredible golf holes throughout the entire destination. We have selected 12 of them. We will talk about 6 in this seminar. And the next week we will be talking about some of the other 6 holes and a couple more with a little bit of a bonus. But you know, I will have my colleague Brian Mccollum to give us a little bit of introduction, so that here we go. I'm going to show him to the camera. Give me 1 second.
Okay. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Oh.
Hi, Brian.
Morning, Cynthia. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. In brief, we thought that the best way to highlight this spectacular golf destination was to come up with 12 golf holes that were really representative of what makes this place a great destination. You know, what we have here, like anywhere else in the world, is this unique mountain, desert, ocean environment. Golf golf designers have come here and maximized the topography. These rolling desert foothills set below these beautiful mountain peaks that tumble down to these golden beaches and the Sea of Cortez, and in some cases, the Pacific Ocean. We're at the place where those 2 bodies of water meet, and that's why this is a Land's End destination at the tip of this 1,000-mile long peninsula. So we picked up, we decided to be very democratic. These are 12 golf holes, 4 par 3s, 4 par 4s, 4 par 5s, drawn from 12 different golf facilities. We try to be as representative as we can. Each of these holes is a wonderful showcase for Cabo's spectacular terrain and great ocean views. Again, as Cynthia said, we're going to have 6 today and 6 next Friday to give you, you know, and what's great about these golf holes, I think, you know, dyed-in-the-wool golfers want a really good challenge. They want great beauty and aesthetics. They want something that's fair, and they want something that engages them on a strategic level, risk reward, especially the par 4s and par 5s, as you'll see, have tremendous risk reward attributes. They can be played safely. They can be played boldly by better players, but they have something for everybody. And I think at the end of this, you'll agree that for beauty, challenge, and variety, and any other type of criteria you'd wish to apply, Cabo's golf is in a class of its own. Please note that the yardages we list are from the championship tees, which are very daunting for experts and professionals, but all these courses in Cabo have staggered forward tees to give everyone a fighting chance. So now we'd like you to sit back and enjoy the tour. I want to thank the golf professionals and directors of golf for joining us to represent and tell you about the holes we've chosen to represent their marvelous facilities. We're going to start with the short holes, the par 3s, everybody's favorites. And I think first up is going to be Antonio Renanti, the director of golf at Quivira Golf Club. This was Jack Nicklaus's 6th golf course in Los Cabos. It opened in 2014. It's been ranked among the top 100 courses in the world by Golf Digest and other publications. And we chose this hole because we think there are many spectacular holes on the golf course. There's a wonderful par 3 on the front, the number 6 hole. But we feel this hole is so unique. It's tiny, it's not long. You can't judge the merits of this golf hole on the distance. And I'd like Antonio to talk more about this completely unique par 3 13th hole.
Hi, Brian. Hi, everybody. Well, first off, welcome to this webinar. We're very excited to have people around the world looking and listening to all the golf offer that we've got. I'm very proud to be hosting my golf club and you guys as our public. And yeah, 13 hole, wow. How much time do I have? Because I could talk a week about that hole.
About 6 minutes, Antonio.
All right, about 6 minutes. Okay, that's very, very few. But okay, like Brian said, this is a wonderful par 3. It's little. From the tips, it plays, well, not plays, it is about 149 yards. That's what the scorecard says. and that's what the with a centered pin placement position your laser or your rangefinder would say. But usually the prevailing wind comes from northwest, which hits you in the back when you're playing that hole. And even if it's a little wind, you're gonna get a lot of help out of it. Very rare you're gonna have wind in your face, but it can happen. Sometimes when we get these depressions or we get these storms, not necessarily hurricanes or things like that, just the depression, we can have winds from the other side, but it's really unlike to have. So this this feature makes you play the hole shorter. The hole plays really short. Now what is very interesting about that hole is that the green is very little. So since it's very little, it makes you feel as if it was longer, because this is kind of a Mackenzie type of effect. I mean, he would play with sizes of things because he knows that people are used to certain size of, let's say, green or bunker or whatever. Right. So this is very interesting because the green is actually not as far as you think, and with all those risks, I mean, we're talking about probably 75 feet above sea level, probably. And
we have this whole, the green, I think, sits about 150 feet above sea level, Antonio.
150? Okay, 150. I'm terrible with feet and meters.
Probably 50 meters.
Yeah, I would,
50 meters.
Okay, 50 meters. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. So it's high, and you know, with the breaking of the waves along the shore and all the rock formations that we've got over there, it's really scenic. It's really threatening, and even good players could be you know, a little bit scary.
For the average golfer, he's hitting a shot of about 115 yards, slightly downwind. Now, Jack does give you a bailout to the left. And what I have found, and please correct me, if the hillside on the left of the green is mown down, you can bail out to the left and your ball will roll down onto the green. That's
correct, Brian. And as a matter of fact, having wall-to-wall same grass, which is paspalm, it's a fun feature to have. You can play around cuts. We can do that little tongue that you're talking about, which is downhill going into the green. We can make it bigger. We can make it just wider to give players more room on the left side so they can have a relief type of aim on that left side. But certainly we play around there with different cuts, like I said. And that means sometimes you're not going to be as luck, and grass will be tall, and the ball is not going to roll. Right. I think the big challenge for a lot of players. It all depends on my mood. Well, you know, a lot of players, what I have found, they take so many pictures. They're so wowed. The first time you see this golf hole, it's so breathtaking. It's a jaw-dropping hole because you look at it and go, are you kidding me? There's a golf hole here. I mean, I love Pebble Beach, but there's nothing quite like this anywhere in the hemisphere. This raw granite cliff rising up out of the ocean. When Jack Nicklaus opened the course 5.5 years ago, he did say this is the smallest green he's ever built. And it's one of the few holes that I've seen by Jack with no bunkers. Right, exactly. And yeah, probably 1,200 square feet. I mean, I don't know, but it's very, very little. It's very, very tiny. And of course, long is no good. You're up on that hillside or in the rocks over the green. Anything short, of course, is hasta la vista. But you know, I must say, when Jack opened the course in 2014, this was the only hole he played. Yeah, but I know the story, and I'm 100% with you with the wow factor with
Right.
this hole. And I would say that you have two different experiences there, because in terms of the beauty of the hole, because you have the tee shot, which is magnificent. I mean, those rocks right there, and especially the form that they've got, talks a lot about how many years or how many millions of years these rocks were under the water. Because
Right.
that erosion is not from the wind. That's definitely from the water and
Right.
being sank, right? So well, then for whatever reasons, I'm just not a geologist. It's just something that I know because yeah, I mean, I kind of read about the Baja when I first moved in here,
Mhm.
and definitely that was one of those little rock formations that were under the water for so many, whatever, millions or centuries. So
Correct.
that's one experience, and the other experience is when you're putting, because when you're putting, you're looking the other way, and
True.
and looking towards the tee boxes, all that beautiful coastline that goes all the way up in the peninsula, and of course at a point it turns and goes up to the north. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's so breathtaking, like you just said.
Yeah, just one last point. For those looking back from the green, if you recognize the beach, it's the same beach that the movie Troy was shot on. The Swords and Sandals epic with Brad Pitt was shot on that beach. With looking back, as Antonio said, when you're putting, looking back to the north, you'll see the beach where this famous movie was shot. Antonio, we'd like to thank you for your commentary. We're going to move on to our next hole. But again, one of the great par threes in Los Cabos and one of the great par threes in the world.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Thank you very much, Rodrigo.
Thank you, Antonio.
Friends, golf
Gracias,
pros,
amigo.
thank you very much. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
So next we have Kevin from Club Campestre San Jose. Brian, would you like to introduce him?
Yes, we'd like to welcome Kevin Groves. Kevin is the head golf professional at Club Campestre San Jose. This is a tremendous Nicholas design course that opened in 2007. The back nine on this golf course is one of the best back nines in Los Cabos. It was difficult to choose a par three to represent this facility, but we feel the most beautiful hole on the incoming nine is the par three 15th hole, which has an oasis-like set-in. And what we really don't see in this scheme here that we're looking at is how beautiful the mountain backdrop is to this hole. There we have it. So you can see what you're looking at here from an elevated set of tees. We hit over this pond. There's a nice bailout area to the left. But as Kevin will point out, if you don't take on this green, it's very difficult up and down from the left side of the green, which is all fairway. No giveaway pars on a Jack Nicklaus golf course. You have to earn it. You're steering right at that hot bunker in the front of the green. There's a large multi-fingered bunker defending the right side of the green. I think it's probably wisest to club up, take an extra club here, even though you're set above the level of the green to hit this green. But a really outstanding hole from 193 yards. Forward tees give the average golfer a little bit better chance. But Kevin, what do you hear in the pro shop when golfers are going about, the golf course in general and this hole in particular?
Well, thanks, Brian, for that introduction to the hole. This hole is one that the prevailing wind is usually into or left to right against the water there. And the bailout, as you say, is to the left. And what players say is basically it's like most Nicklaus golf courses. It's a very, very skinny green. The green does have a tendency to fall towards the water there. So if you miss it long, anywhere from mid green or even short, the first third of the green to the back of the green, the up and down, as you'll notice that little knoll right there at the top of that pin. It is severely downhill, and you're probably hitting from about 12 to 13 feet down in that the bottom of that basin that you're at. So you're playing straight to the water or straight to the bunker there on your right. So the best miss on this hole, unfortunately, is short left or short middle if you can keep it out of the water. And it does play from 193 yards to 135 yards, depending upon what tee you're playing. But it can stretch out to about 205 yards if you're playing all the way back right, and with a crosswind or with a wind that's into you. It's a very difficult hole, especially coming down the stretch to the last few.
Well, that's right, because this comes into a really firm stretch heading into the the final holes. I don't want to ask how many balls are dredged out of that lake every year, but it is good that you shave down the fairway's mown to fairway height, and you can hit a bump and run or a flop shot from that left bailout area, and hope to get a putt. What about the green itself? This is pretty subtly contoured, pronounced contours.
It is. The front left of the green actually moves to the left side towards the basin just a little bit. And once you get into the back 2/3, the middle third of the green moves fairly well to the right. So it is moving towards the water and towards the bunker. And the back level of the green is fairly flat. So if the miss, if the pin happens to be all the way in the back, is just long. If you can miss it long, then you'll have your best chance of getting up and down. But the missing it left in the middle, if you hit over top of where you see the flag there, right, and you have half a club too much and the flag would be there, the ball will actually carom another 20 to 25 yards away from the green. It's that severe of a slope coming off the back there. And so it's a difficult hole. It's a very difficult hole.
Well, no helping hand here from Mr. Nicholas. He wants you to earn it, but it's a very fair hole. You just have to hit a good shot and certainly have a good short game to put a 3 on the card. Well, Kevin, we want to thank you for your time. That's our second par 3, and it's a really wonderful showcase for this wonderful upcountry golf course with views of the ocean, by the way, from all 18 holes. So thank you for your participation. We're going to move on to some par 4s now.
Thank you very much. Thanks. De nada.
Thank you, Kevin. Good seeing you.
You too. Bye-bye.
So we're moving with Rancho San Lucas. Well, we're moving on to the par 4s, but we're going to start speaking with Mario Navarro. He's the head professional for Rancho San Lucas, who is here with us. Hola, Mario. Can you hear us, Mario?
Should we move on to Juan Carlos, if he's here, and then come back to him?
No, he's here.
Oh, he is. Mario? Let me talk about the whole of our Mario Navarro, head professional at Rancho San Lucas, to join us. This is the new kid on the block. This is our newest golf course. Greg Norman was here to debut Rancho San Lucas on the Pacific Coast in February. It's 3 months old. It's a spectacular golf course, right again up against the Pacific. The golf course, kind of like Pebble Beach, brings you to the ocean on both nines. This truly is the outstanding hole at Rancho San Lucas, and there are many. But this one is so unique because it's grass or sand. You can see the fairways and tees are encased in this beautiful shouldering dune on the right and pure white sand beach going off to the left. It looks simple, but this course is faced directly into the prevailing wind, which is off the AC in a southwesterly direction. Staggered tees, it's a beast from 444 yards. When Norman was here in February, he played one set of tees up from that, and he lacks nothing even at his age for length, but he played it from the gold tees, not the black tees. The challenge here is a very, very wide, bunkerless fairway, plenty of room out there, and that's because it can get quite windy on the Pacific Coast, especially at this time of year. It's a right to left dogleg. Again, generous landing area, framed on both sides by these sandy areas and dunes. The second shot has to find and hold a very large, slightly raised green. There's a couple of deep bunkers, revetted pop bunkers, unique to the golf course, placed to the left of the putting surface. The really wonderful thing on number 14, as is true on the front nine, the second and third holes, is that during the winter months, when the migrating whales are here, mostly humpbacks that have come down here from the Aleutian Islands off the coast of Alaska, they come down here to Cav and frolic and have a good time in Cabo like everybody. You can spot whales very close to the beach. And I've seen players just stand on the screen with their mouths open for 10 or 15 minutes and forget about putting and shots and everything else just to watch these magnificent creatures just offshore from the 14th green. So, and actually Norman, during the time he was here, he played it with his design team before the grand opening. And they were out there a long time. I said, what took so long? They said there were 5 whales jumping around behind the 14th green. So it has a lot of attributes from the golf side, and also what's so unique about Cabo is everything else that's going on around you while you're playing golf, like whales, reaching and spouting whales.
So let's see if Mario can, well, if we can hear Mario. Mario?
Yes.
Oh, good. Hi, Mario.
Yeah, how you doing?
We're very well, thank you. I tried to encapsulate a few features of the magnificent number 14 hole at Rancho San Lucas. Please weigh in and tell us what makes this course so representative of the club, what makes it so unique.
Well, thank you. Thank you for doing my job. That was pretty much it.
No, please.
Like to thank you and Cynthia and all the people listening in. As you said, this is obviously the wow factor as we coming into this hole. Honestly, the stretch of holes that's 12 through 16 is really special. We're coming in from 12, that is almost 100 meters up, and then going down on 12, which is a nice 12 and 13 are really nice holes downhill. And then you hit the comfort station right after the green on 13, so you're having your drink and your snack on hand, and you have one of the best you can say a little long cart ride going into a 14 tee box and going down into the tee. You'll see our neighboring properties, Quivira and Diamante there on your left, and obviously the big panoramic view of the Pacific Ocean. I like this hole a lot. This is again one of our featured holes, but just the setting, we have like almost a stadium setting there on the dune on the left. Makes the hole really, really picturesque and unique, and you'll see all these dune formations that you can look at on the background. And again, this hole is a very unique hole, but it's a very playable hole. We got a lot of tees that span almost 100 yards from the blacks to the white tees. And so you can play it again during the windy months. You have you're playing right into the wind. I've hit from the black tees anywhere from driver pitching wedge to driver sandwich, and then the last few days that we played before we had to close for COVID, I was hitting driver hybrid. But still very playable, since you can just bump it down the fairway and get into the green. It's slightly tilted from back to front, so it will receive the balls and when you hit your second shot into it. But this is really, really unique. Again, you got the beach there about 400 yards to your left,
right,
when you're hitting from the tee box.
Talk about the green itself, Mario. It is a very large putting surface. Will receive a run-up shot. But getting on the green, I found there are many subtle contours that take getting to know. Yes,
for sure. And I've been struggling with reading the putts and everything here at the golf course. But this is one of the as average size putting green, which is big. We have over here at the Rancho San Lucas, we got 3 greens that are 12,000 square foot big, and this one is around I would say 8,000 or 9,000. So it's a really, really big green.
Right.
And you know, you got to learn how to putt. And again, big greens doesn't mean that it's easier. The pin is can also be placed in really difficult locations.
Right.
We surely don't want that for our guests and our tourists. When they come in, we want them to enjoy the golf course. But yes, you have to learn, and you have to start getting on your belly like Camilo Villegas did back in the day to start learning the breaks on these
Well,
greens.
You do have a caddy program, and I know they can get on their bellies and help
Yes.
help guests and members read the putts, because there's a lot going on these greens. 100% paspalum tee to green.
Correct. We got the Sea Dwarf Paspalum. Again, a pretty links feel to this golf hole as well, just like
Right.
everything around the golf, all the other F17 holes. This is, to me, I mean, look at that picture with the sunrise there on the back mountains. This is really a picturesque hole and a very playable hole. And again, you have to hit really 2 good shots.
Right.
Kind of intimidating there a little bit on the tee box. Kind of narrows in a little bit. It widens out on the landing area, but you do have Norman kind of tricks you a little bit on that situation with the tee shot.
That's true. But if we had to pick one, I think you'd agree, Mario, this is one of the premier outstanding holes on the newest, and certainly one of the finest courses in all of Los Cabos.
Yes. Very good addition to what complements this, all the golf courses here in days, and we're giving a little more of a brownish color, so we are not super green, but it makes it really unique and distinct when we have this when you walk into the golf club.
That's right. Well, they say firm conditions promote a better standard of play, and that's very welcome. And certainly we look forward to getting back to Rancho San Lucas as soon as we can reopen. Hopefully it's sometime next month.
Yes, hopefully soon, and we are obviously very excited to hear that and get the ball rolling for everybody else. We certainly want everybody to enjoy what has been a really popular golf destination with the entire world.
Really good. Well, thank you for joining us, Mario. We're going to go to our second par 4, and again, Godspeed on your reopening.
Thank you, and good luck to everybody, and stay safe, and look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, gracias, amigo.
Thank you, Mario. So next we have Cabo Real. We have Juan Carlos Castellanos. I'm gonna mute myself so that there's no echo. So
we'd like to welcome Juan Carlos Castellanos, head professional at Cabo Real Golf Club. Cabo Real is one of the 3 Questro golf courses in Los Cabos, along with Club Campestre and Puerto Los Cabos. We'll be hearing from Puerto Los Cabos next week. This is, Cabo Real is a really interesting golf course. It's one of the first courses built in Los Cabos. It's a Robert Trent Jones Jr. design that was opened in 1994. Really one of the old timers here in Los Cabos. And what Cabo Real has is a sporty, fun front 9 that goes down to the Sea of Cortez. The back 9 goes up into rolling desert foothills and right into the base of the mountains. It's a tremendous back 9. A lot of locals feel it's the toughest, the most challenging 9 in Los Cabos. It's very fair, but can be very demanding. And speaking of demanding, we chose number 14, par 4 of 450 yards from the back tees, a little friendlier from the forward tees. But I'd like Juan Carlos to run through what makes this hole so tremendous. And I think you'll see it as we do an aerial flyover of what makes it so great. It's a right to left dog leg. You have to hit a great drive and an equally excellent second shot to have a shot at making par on this uber challenging par 4. Juan Carlos?
Good morning, everyone. And Brian, thank you for having me here today. I love this hole. I'm thinking, and all those beautiful words you put together for us so we can understand what we're seeing here. It makes definitely 100% justice. Since you went through all the description of the hole. And I'd like to add, as you mentioned, this is a 26-year-old course,
Right.
and 14 is kind of like the cherry on top of the cake. Yes, the back nine is challenging. It greets all the players, but off the tips is definitely a huge challenge. The risk and reward. You cut the corner on over the bunkers. In the next picture, you're gonna see how those little bunkers on your left are giving you some room to get over. On top of that, if you can fade that a little bit, you're gonna make your second in at least 2 club less down. So if you play safe off your right, and you see a bunch of room right there, no matter what set of tees you're doing, Robert is asking for you to aim that huge bunker on the back off your right, more or less into that right side lip, so you can be safe. But the more you go to the right, more yards are going to be added to the second in, and being an uphill hole, it's also going to demand a little bit more on distance, right? So look at this beautiful tee shot. This is the member tees. This is where the flyover is taken, and
so
they carry to
force
carry. I'm sorry.
Royal.
Looks more like this is the second tee. The second tee is the gold, and it's going to be about 180 to make it through to that edge right there. And now goes into the left, and those bunkers are protecting because there is no room for mistakes. My suggestion will be to join us in the morning when the breeze is not there. Normally the afternoon can bring a little bit more of that back.
Good point.
This course is located in the middle of the corridor. So pretty much we started in Casa San Lucas, now we move on to San Del Cabo. We're located dead down the middle. And this is a Bermuda grass, 26-year-old, when the tendency for building courses was not the Mccollum. That was not nearly to be invented. And Bermuda adds a beautiful fact. As you can tell, the texture and the coloring, like Mario described it, it's not to be fully green, like a lot of the consumers like these days. But golfers appreciate the fact that Bermuda is a little bit more the kind of grass that is golf meant to be for this kind of weather, no? So.
Well, I want you to talk a little bit more about the risk-reward factor on the drive, because as we just saw in the flyover, if you take on that left corner, you shorten the hole significantly. If you bail out to the right, you leave yourself a much longer second shot, but it's very dangerous with the way the canyon cuts in on the left there.
As I mentioned, if you play the second tees and you don't have somewhere 260 in your back for the tee shot, then you better go to the right. And if we go further back to the tips, then amigo, we're talking about 285, which I know some of the players have, but for my average player at Carmen Real, I like to say it is an 18 handicapper. Guys, that's the reason Robert said that huge bunker dead down the middle, so we can aim and look as a reference.
So that's an aiming bunker, that one on the right there.
Totally. And then your second in is going to be within 150, roughly 160. So it's going to put an effort for somewhere between your 9 to your 7 iron, as I mentioned before. This in perfect weather conditions. Look at this afternoon right there. What a sunset, huh?
Beautiful. Just finally, Juan Carlos, talk a little bit about the putting service. I know it's tilted from back to front. What else do golfers need to be aware of when they're putting?
Amigo, Brian, I definitely need to mention, you need to check, and we provide the GPS system so the players can feel comfortable. They can be accurate all the time towards the pin. And my suggestion will be to, in this hole, always consider your extra club, but normally I'll suggest to be short to the pin and not pin high, or nevertheless on the back of it, because a downhill putt is never gonna stop. We normally mow these greens to be friendly about 10, 10 and a half, but there's days where we go 11 and a half to 12, and then it's a different story.
Whoa, so you want to be below the pin.
You always want to be below the pin, that's right.
Interesting. So on top of everything else, this massive par 4, it's not enough to get on the green, but you better be short of the pin or below it, because if you get above it, you have a very speedy putt coming downhill, correct?
Well, that is the reason we name it the handicap number 1 of the course. That is because of the challenge. That's right.
That's real. Well, it's a wonderful showcase for a great great early old-time golf course that has really stood the test of time. And it really is one of the outstanding golf holes in Los Cabos. So Juan Carlos, thank you for joining us and for explaining this tremendously challenging par 4. We're now going to move on to the par 5s, and let us all hope we're open sooner than later.
Well, I'd like to say goodbye by inviting everyone to visit Casa Del Real and all the Cuesta golf courses. And Brian, you know this is your house, as everyone else is here in this chat. Thank you very much. Adiós.
Muchas gracias, Juan Carlos.
Cintia, gracias a ti.
Okay. So we're moving on to Casa San Lucas Country Club. And we're gonna get Terry Powell to speak to us. I'm going to start his.
Okay, we'd like to welcome Terry Powell. He's the men's handicap chairman at Casa San Lucas Country Club. Casa San Lucas Country Club is a vintage club. It opened in 1994, just like Carmen Real. It was designed by Roy Dye, Pete Dye's brother. It was completed by his son, Matt. This is the only, it's apartment style layout, a little different from the others at Los Cabos. It's the only golf course in Los Cabos with a view of the iconic sea arch that lands in. It's very close, actually in Casa San Lucas itself. The outstanding hole we believe on this golf course is the double dogleg par 5 7th hole, which stretches to an ungodly 610 yards from the back tees. It's not only one of the longest holes in Mexico, it's certainly one of the toughest par 5s in Los Cabos. So Terry is who's played the course probably more than 1,000 times, is going to talk about what makes this hole so great. Terry?
Get the word out about our course here. Just a couple of small things before we talk about the hole is we are the only course here in Cabo San Lucas that you can actually see the arch from most of our holes that are out there. And another significant thing that we have and that we offer once we are able to open back up is that we have a night driving range program that we invite anybody and everybody to come to enjoy themselves, go out and whack a few balls at night. And we've even had professionals from some of the other courses come to get some of their practice in when they can have a pretty nice open area that they can just relax at and not have to worry so much about their job.
That's a really good point, Terry. It's a lighted driving range unique to Cabo. It's the only one in town, and you're right. Everybody from all walks of life and professions loves to hit balls at night, and you always have great tunes playing too, I might add.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, let's talk about this great golf hole, Terry. What in your opinion makes this so special, so challenging, and one of the best risk-reward par 5s in Los Cabos?
Yeah, this is a huge golf course, a huge golf hole. It's the longest one, I believe, that we have in Cabo, and probably, if it isn't the longest, one of the most longest it's in all of Mexico down here.
Right.
It's a 3-shot hole every day of the week, unless, of course, you would be as long as Rory McIlroy. But anybody else, they're going to have to take 3 shots to get in. When you start here on the tee box and you're looking down there and you see the palm on the right, there's also a whole lot of more sand, and then there's bunkers on the left. And this is from the tips pretty close to a 185 to 190 yard carry just to get to the cut of the grass. And that's still not even the fairway. The fairway is still at about 210 off the tees back there.
It's a big carry.
But as a lot of our other compadres have said, we have various tees. Our blacks are 610, and we go as low as the forward tees at 512, almost 100-yard difference in tees. But you hit that first shot, and then as you get ready to the second shot, now you've got the water and the lake that come into play. And as we've talked about before, most of us hackers like myself always have that little bit of a right slice, and the wind a lot of times will take the ball on this hole left to right. So the lake really comes into play quite a bit.
So
and then
you need a well-positioned second shot. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then a nice third shot, little wedge to get into the hole.
And talk about, okay, so say you hit a good drive, you hit your well-positioned second shot, and you need a really good short third shot, hopefully with a short iron, a 9-iron or a wedge. And now we'll get up on the putting surface for a minute, because what I found, a very, very tricky green with very subtle breaks and contours. It's not enough to hit the green. It's not automatic par just because you're on a regulation.
That's correct, and it's a little bit of a long, skinny green, but
Right.
the problem is if you hit anywhere middle or to the right of middle, the ball can easily go into the water. So when our lovely pin setters set the hole on the right-hand side, it's really tricky, and a lot of times it's not a pin to shoot at.
I see.
Always
Okay.
favor the middle over the right on this hole.
That's a really good piece of advice for sure. The middle of the green is gold, because I have seen balls drift to the right and keep rolling and go into the water.
Oh yeah.
It's a very unpleasant experience.
And
but
that water runs all the way up to the green edge.
As tough as it is, Terry, I think it's also fair.
Yes. Very fair hole. But again, you got to get a good shot off the tee box, and then you got to have a shot. Once you get those two things going, you got a real good.
Well, I think even for the average golfer, 6 bogey is not a bad score here. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I've had a lot of 6s. There's a lot of days that I'm very happy. But I'll tell you one more thing about this.
Okay.
A lot of times we have a skins game here on Saturdays, and we have every level of player, from plus players to high handicappers. And there's been a time when guy from high to low to get a par, and that par won me a skin on that hole.
Wow, that's
So
saying a
even
lot.
par is really good. Yeah.
Well, Terry, thank you for taking through the wonderful par 5 7th hole at Cabo San Lucas Country Club. It really is one of the outstanding holes in the destination loaded with outstanding holes. So we appreciate you coming on. Of course, you have a great general manager in Alfonso Terrazas, who made a lot of marvelous changes for the better over the last 2 years at this really wonderful vintage golf club that, as you say, is the only course in town with a view of our iconic Sea Arch, El Arco at Land's End. And let us all hope we're open sooner than later so we can get back out and take on number 7 and see how we do.
Yeah, sure enough. And thank you very much for inviting us to join in today. And we look forward to getting back open and getting the public back out here, not only to play the course, but to come out here and have a good evening with our night golf program, our night driving range. Thank you much.
All right, thank you, Terry. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
So you guys remember that we will have a section after the next hole for questions and answers. So all of our golf directors and head professionals are still here, and they will be looking forward to listening to all of your questions. So moving on.
We'd like to welcome Zachary Palmy, the Director of Golf at Chileno Bay. Chileno Bay is a magnificent San Fazio designed golf course. We should tell you this is a private club with exclusive access available to guests of the Chileno Bay Resort, which is a beautiful beachfront hotel managed by Auberge Resorts, maybe 5 minutes down the hill from the golf course. Golf course was built in 2013. Discovery Land took it over a couple of years after that and completely redid it all for the better. It was good. Now it's great. There are some beautiful landscaping treatments out there, beautiful white sand bunkers. It has everything going for it, including perhaps the best stand of paspalum grass in Los Cabos. We feel the outstanding hole on this golf course is number 12. It's a par 5 that stretches to 582 yards. Great risk-reward factor, big boomerang-shaped hole that bends around to the left to a green that appears to sort of hang in the sky. So we'll have Zachary take us through this magnificent hole and talk about the wonderful things that come after this hole after you play it. Zachary, welcome.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me, and thanks for all that's gone into this. And, you know, on behalf of Chileno Bay, we're just really honored to be recognized. 12 is a really special hole. It's rare that, you know, your #1 handicap hole is also the most talked about from an aesthetic standpoint. You know, the hole from a tee box is framed, and you open up towards the Sea of Cortez, and then there's the mountain range, which I believe is Sierra de la Laguna. So it creates a very natural setting, you know, but this is one of those holes where, you know, I've seen 3s and I've seen 12s, and video here of one of our members, and just to give you a little perspective on how the hole is played and opens up and is framed. If you look out, you know, there it is. But I mean, it's literally a 90-degree turn, and it's as much as you want to chew off. You know, I've had 9-iron in with a little help from a rare breeze behind you. We don't have much breeze the way Chileno is placed. It's pretty well protected, but breeze, it's refreshing. The white sand, as you discussed, I mean, just really pops. The Augusta white and the Paspalin is just such a great, you know, surface to play off of around, and it remains healthy and green. What's unique about this hole also is, you know, after the test, there's the Discovery Land Comfort Stations, which, you know, are world famous, and it's just a great place to hang out and, you know, watch guys come in and struggle with the hole. As we're looking down here at the green complex, you know, this hole can get you from the tee. It can narrow in the second shot there and get you there. And then the third shot is probably the toughest shot. You know, you're gone, and long is dead also. Right. So, and this is one of those greens where you know, a 2-putt is a pretty good achievement. You know, I've seen 3 and 4 putts as well. And you know, one thing that a lot of people are intimidated by is that front bunker in front of the green. But a good player or a low hand, it's safe. So
interesting.
It's a great golf hole, and it's just one of those unique holes that everybody talks about when they leave. I mean, all the holes in Chileno are so special. True. But this just checks all the boxes.
It does. You know, and Tom Fazio, Zachary, is known as the king of playability. But when I played this hole, I really felt he wants you to step up your game a little bit if you want to make a par. Or even try for birdie, because like you said, you have to hit a good drive, well-placed second shot if you're playing it as a 3-shot hole, and then get on that green. And it's a very intimidating third shot because it looks like you're you know, you could fly off into outer space if you don't hit a correct shot. And then describe the green contours. It kind of slopes a little bit to the left and from the back, but tell us more about the green itself.
You know, you can kind of see in the picture there, it's got a push-up triangle in the middle. And it funnels to the front, it funnels towards the water, and then it almost kind of funnels back into the mountain range there. So, you know, where the pin is placed in this picture, you know, you take dead aim, you know, you might like it in the air and you know, be circling 4, but you might be writing down 7 because it kind of runs away from you. And there's not much real estate, you know, if you miss the green.
Right. So. No, that's true. It's a tough up and down. But as you point out, the Comfort Station will take the sting out of a high score. You think of Kobe beef sliders and beer on draft and anything your heart desires at the going from 12 green to 13 tee.
That's right. The frozen margaritas to keep you going.
That's right. Well, Zachary, thank you for taking through this magnificent hole at one of the premier golf facilities in Los Cabos. Again, an exclusive private club with access available to guests of the beautiful Chileno Bay Resort run by Auberge Resorts.
Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you everybody with Los Cabos here. And we look forward to having everybody at Chileno Bay soon, and stay healthy and stay safe.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Zach. All right, everyone. So now it's the time. make sure that you ask all your questions. I'm sure you have a bunch. And let me get everybody microphone open so that you can ask our golf professionals and our directors of golf the questions that you would like to know the answer to. So you can put them on the chat, or you can put them on the questions and answer area here at the Zoom application. So type away. Okay. Anybody has any questions? All right, here we go. Can I send you this recording after? Yes. We'll just edit the beginning, and we can, of course, send you the link where you can download it and watch it, because there's a lot of really good information, as you know. Anybody else? We have all the pros here. Right now is your chance.
Local knowledge.
Local knowledge, for sure. All right, well, it looks like everybody's a bit quiet right now, so I think we'll end it right here. It's just a couple of minutes after 11 o'clock, so I just want to remind you, everybody, of the next webinar. We're gonna do part 2 of the best golf holes in Los Cabos, so make sure to join us. We'll send you this information in this presentation so that you can register. And we have a lot of great holes that we still need to talk about. And there's a question here: is there a course in Los Cabos that is walk-in only? What do you think, Brian?
What's the question?
If there is a golf course in Los Cabos that you know,
Well, there's a couple. Rancho San Lucas, the newcomer on the Pacific Coast, has a 4-passenger rider cart. So the caddy will drive the cart, and the foursome or threesome or twosome can walk. They also have 1-person electric scooters, but of course you have to drive that. But Rancho San Lucas, Greg Norman wanted the course to be walkable. The tees and greens are relatively close together. It can be walked without difficulty. I believe that Chileno Bay, you can get a car and have the caddy drive it. Maybe jump in from, there's some little travel distance, some greens to tees. Chileno Bay has caddies, and that's available there as well. The Cove Club at Cabo del Cabo, formerly known as the Ocean Course, has a caddy program, walking, and we'll be talking to the director of golf, Eric Evans, next week about their feature hole. You can go into that a little bit. We have a modest 9-hole course, the first course in Los Cabos, built in 1987, called Vidanta Los Cabos, and that's a walker golf course. It's a short course in San Jose del Cabo, well liked by tourists as well as locals. That's very walker friendly. So there are a few, but on balance, this is the place where most people take golf carts. They're on holiday, they're on vacation, they want to relax, put their feet up, and drive around these beautiful golf courses. But there are some exceptions where you can walk.
All right, thank you, Brian. Okay, everybody, I just want to remind you about the ways how you can connect with us. Of course, you can check our website. It's visitloscabos.travel. You can also become a specialist in Los Cabos by taking the training certification. And of course, newsletter, social media on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And any questions, of course, I'm available for you to help you with in whichever way we can. So thank you so much, everyone, for for being part of our webinar this morning, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you, our golf professionals and directors of golf, for joining us this morning, and we really appreciate your support and your availability. So thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Qué amable.